Hello, I'm Jash, and welcome back to more of Jash Reads, the series where I read a book cover to cover and discuss it chapter by chapter. Except in this case, we're going to be continuing to read my fic, that part, but we will be discussing, chapter by chapter. And just a little heads up. Please see if there's not an eyelash on my goddamn eye. God damn it. Hang on, folks. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. I just put a couple eye drops in, and hopefully that solves the eyelash situation. But anyways, the heads up wasn't about anything eyelash related. It's the fact that this is going to be my final dramatic reading for a little bit. I'm going on a little bit of hiatus for this series just because I've been feeling burnt out, so ta-da! But anyways, that part is my Skyrim Remedy Connected Universe crossover. So, yay. And besides reading a book cover to cover, or in this case, reading a fic, first chapter to last chapter, there's, as you can see, a little Minecraft element, so we build stuff. Yeah. And I don't have separate worlds for each of my dramatic readings, so to get the full scope of what I've been creating over the years, you sort of need to watch both. And I'm amazing, so like that's not really a problem, right? Yeah. Make nice little grass here. I went on a big speech all about taking a hiatus on the dramatic readings yesterday, so for those of you who watch all of my dramatic readings, I'm not going to bore you again with the same old thing. So so what to discuss? Watched a little horror film yesterday called Escape the Field, where the premise was escaping the field. And it was good. It was fun and a nice little mystery too. I mean, the mystery didn't really get solved, but it was one of those, sorts of movies where you're not supposed to know everything by the end. You have to really look at things to discover what's going on. Everything's not just simply handed to you. Honestly, the ending made me want to see a sequel to it. Just so we could possibly get more information. Because it does seem that the British government was involved with this experiment. So to possibly figure out more, like just why was this all going on? Like, what's the real end goal? That's. Yeah, I think that seemed to be a sort of a common complaint on Reddit that not a lot was answered. Oh my god, those goats can really jump. Jeebus. Let's see. Let's see. So, K-pop Demon Hunters was finally released in theaters, and I guess there's a sing-along version, which makes sense because it's a musical, basically. But I just feel so sad about because just listening to people sing like how. Yeah, I mean, everyone in a sing-along's going to be singing, so. But still, some of the notes that the singers reach in that movie are really fucking high. Those are like the highest of the high notes. And not only are they able to reach that height, they're also able to sort of just not give a solid flat note, like really bring life to that note while doing it extremely high, which does take talent and training to do. So if you're just listening to someone sing along who's not really voice trained with singing, yeah, that's going to be there's nightmares and there's where the hell that is. I think there was I probably annoyed my mom by trying to sing along to I believe the movie title was Quest for Camelot, and there was this one song where there was it was really high notes all around. And yeah, I was having fun, but anyone listening to me definitely was not. I ended up quitting singing lessons just because I really wasn't practicing enough, and honestly, I do wish I had tried harder to keep with it and practice. I'm going to put down some fences here and then begin the actual dramatic reading. Okay, get the bird on my Oh shit. Oh shit. Birdie bird. God, you can't breathe underwater. Don't land on me. I need to park you for a moment so I can deal with the water stuff and you not, die. Is that a good height there? Actually, I think I'm going to... I'm trying to aim at the fence here. Okay. Once we do this, we can actually start. Figured this village is going to be depending mostly on Gray's animals grazing, so nice large area for them to do so. And since there was already a little watering hole, yeah, this will be good. It's going to be a large little project, but I'll probably forget all about it until I get back to doing dramatic readings again. Yay! Okay. So actually, let's get to that dramatic reading, huh? So, a little slight warnings before I do begin. That part, as I said before, is my Skyrim Remedy Connected Universe fic. Now, this fic is told in first-person point of view. It does involve the main relationship being between a semi-OC and a canon character. I say semi-OC because the Dragonborn in Skyrim is, it's a role-playing game, so and you can role-play a bunch of different races. Everyone has their own little backstories, so that's why I say semi-OC. Because, yes, he's my OC, but he is also canon at the same time, so, yeah. Let's see, I did the romance. I know there's a third warning I usually give. Oh yeah, it's a non-canonical crossover. Like this crossover between Skyrim and the Remedy Connect universe has not happened in canon, so if you do not like non-canonical crossovers, yeah, my aim with this fic is not to change your mind, so yay! So basically, if you hate non-canonical crossovers, you're not going to read mine and go, oh my god, my point of view is just like totally changed, man, just totally changed. Oh. Yeah, when it gets dark in game, I'm going to be going back to the village, so. Hello, little piggy. I was going to put hay in the little cave there, but I figured, I figured they're already grazing on grass. Why the fuck would they need hay? Okay, let's see. Oh, I got the tab open. So, here we go. Oh, God. Hang on a sec. I gotta save Jorah because I think he accidentally shut the door of his cage. Here you go, Jorah. There you go. I just looked over at, I'm hearing some squawking, and then it's like, wait a minute, I didn't lock Jorah away. God, it's okay, Jorah. Like, Jorah can't open one of the cage doors to save his life, but he is really good at closing them. So, yay. Okay, let me get comfy, all sitting down again. And now let's actually start the stream if my birds don't try to be all cutesy. Okay, let's read that part, chapter 13, The Strange Nature of Reality. And this chapter is told from Alex Casey's point of view. So let's get started. I hadn't had time to get dressed, and the towel was the only reason I wasn't completely naked. Even though my clothing was justified, I hated how unprofessional I looked. I opened the door for Saga Anderson and hoped she didn't take my towel to heart. As Saga rushed angrily into my apartment and I shut the door behind her, I realized I shouldn't have worried. Whatever the reason she had to visit me so late made her mad and unsettled. She had less of a reaction when seeing brutally murdered victims than she did storming through my apartment. Once she sat down at my table, half covered in Dungeons and Dragons manuals, I decided to make coffee. I wouldn't rush to make her talk, as that was more likely to set her off even more. But I couldn't stand around or else I would keep growing more nervous. So I decided to make coffee. What the fuck does the FBC do? Saga asked as I turned my coffee maker on. I don't know, I replied and managed to keep the worry out of my voice. Do they care about busting drug rings? Everything seems to be under their jurisdiction. Wait, is this about our case? It is. 2 agents came to my house tonight and demanded that I give them our case. They even threatened me. Did Logan hear anything? No. Her and David were eating dinner. That was good. At least Logan wouldn't be aware of what was going on. They must not have a goddamn leg to stand on, I said as I took down 2 coffee mugs. Or else they wouldn't have gone to you when you were at home. You think they just wanted to spook me? Saga asked. We can deal with them in the morning, when they'll actually have to defend trying to take the case away from us. Any good dreams tonight? I followed her gaze to my towel. It was a brief movement, but enough to say a lot. She wouldn't be pointing to my towel if she thought it unimportant. But why would she be interested in my dreams? And if she was concerned about my dreams, so was the FBC. But that made about as much sense as her asking the question in the first place. Maybe she was just worried that there was someone else in the apartment. There is no one else here, I answered. I sleep in the nude. My dream tonight was the best I had ever had. After all the years of pining for Jash, I had finally been able to fuck him. I couldn't tell that to Saga, though, as she would start to worry about me. Due to how perceptive the young woman was, I couldn't even make a passing remark to how good my dream had been. Saga's ability to scrutinize evidence in a case was nearly magical. It sometimes felt like she had the cheat sheet to life with how random her observations appeared at first. But things like Jash and magic weren't real. She didn't have superhuman abilities. She was just extremely good at her job. You know what? The night's so beautiful here. I was going to go back to the village, but you know, I'm going to set up a few lights around me, so I'm not totally in the dark and everyone can view me better at home. Let's see what happens if I do remove one of these. Okay, this is nice little light in here. You're able to see both me and the scenery behind me. So, okay. Actually, let me go back to my sword. Yeah. Okay, hang on. Of course, when I finalize the build for this, I am not going to have any torches. This is just for you, dear viewers, because I'm cool like that. Okay, let's continue. let's see where it was. Okay, here we go. Here we are. Did the FBC say why they're so interested in our case? I asked as I breathed in the strong scent of coffee. I can understand why they were so interested in the cult of the word, but our case isn't like that. We found one man that overdosed and evidence of it being a... I can't read my own words. Okay, let's start at the top of that paragraph, everyone. Did the FBC say why they're so interested in our case? I asked as I breathed in the strong scent of coffee. I can understand why they were so interested in the cult of the word, but our case isn't like that. We found one man that overdosed and evidence of it being part of a drug ring. Not exactly something that the FBC would consider interesting. If our case didn't involve what you identified as a potion of sobriety, they would have left us alone. Saga answered. I had thought that the... Oh god, I can't. I'm just fucking up every 2 words. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyways, let's start that again. I had thought that this POS was just another drug. While I had never seen it before, it seemed familiar to me. Jash had created a POS, but he was merely part of a dream, which meant I had to have known about something like the POS. But the Federal Bureau of Control was interested in it. I was worried. Had I created it and just blocked out the memory, I wouldn't rule that out, as Jash was part of a reoccurring dream, which is something that had never happened to me before. Did they talk to you merely to scare you, or was there another reason? I mused. Maybe they were afraid of me and wanted to warn you away. I wasn't followed after I left my home, Saga pointed out. But yes, they seem slightly suspicious of you. Why? You were able to both identify the drug and tell that it was a knockoff. Something was nagging me about this whole situation, but the one aspect that stood above everything else was the fact that Saga had felt the need to drive here and storm into my apartment. Saga had a loving husband and daughter. Why would she put in all the effort to come here now instead of waiting for morning? What is it, Alex? Saga asked as the first cup was filled. You drove all this way just to tell me that the FBC is trying to take our case? I asked, leaning on the counter. You expect me to believe you drove all this way just to inform me of something that could wait until the morning? I turned to look at her and saw a scared expression in her eyes for just a moment. I came because of how the FBC tried to scare us away from our case, Saga said and shook her head. It didn't make any sense, but it made enough sense for you to come here, I pointed out. Or I was just terrified. Some people spook easily. You don't. Fine. They threaten to expose your dreams, or whatever that means. I nearly dropped the fresh cup of coffee. It took all of my effort not to feel the very real bite mark that Jash had given me. Had Saga taken note of anything I stopped myself from doing? The Federal Bureau of Control wouldn't spend any effort to investigate something that was fictional. I hadn't written down much of the dreams with Jash, and so there wasn't much of a trail for anyone to follow. Which meant the FBC had spent a good amount of time, effort, and manpower to follow one man's dreams. Hang on, I need to take a sip of, not coffee, Coke. Sorry, caffeine on the brain. Yay. And returning. What that all boiled down to was what Jash actually was. The Saxleal, in spite of all reason, was real. I hadn't fallen in love with some illusion, but a real man. And he had known that and loved me in return, to the point that he would search for me. Jash was real. Jash would find me. Jash wouldn't break that promise. They threatened to expose my dreams? I asked nonchalantly as I put the first cup of coffee down gently on the counter. What damning evidence do they think my dreams provide? They didn't say, Saga answered as I got a bottle of whiskey. But my hunch is that they don't have much. Alex, why are they interested in your dreams? The whiskey will help. For you or me? Both of us. I poured Saga another shot of whiskey and sat the empty bottle back on the table. It had taken an hour to explain about Jash and how tonight I had learned he was real. Both of us had been forced to confront the fact that the world had just become much more complicated. As I leaned back in my chair, I was glad, at least, that she had helped me bear all of these revelations. I was glad that she hadn't run from me. The potion of sobriety, Saga said, and just looked at the shot glass as I downed my own. Jash's creation. Chokeberries don't work here like they do on Nern. I added, we should go to the FBC. If there is any way to reach Jash, they'll know. They threatened me. I trust Jash to find me himself more than anything the FBC could offer. Wouldn't you threaten someone if they've known about my dreams all this time and didn't say shit to me? If they were going to help me, they would have already. Saga was lucky that had been her to make such an asinine suggestion, not someone else. I wanted to yell at her and make her cry in fear, but I couldn't. She was someone I respected far too much to do that. My face couldn't hide my anger, though, and she barely managed to stop herself from flinching. I won't tell anyone, Saga promised. I know, I replied. You wouldn't have told me if you thought I would. No. Now would be the time to wait for Jash while carrying on with my life. One day I knew Jash would find me. He wouldn't let something as silly as reality stop him. He had been through far too much and would go through so much more for me. We'll let the FBC take our case, I said. At least that's something normal I can figure out. You'll go with Jash when he finally comes? Saga asked. You're a good agent, Saga. I doubt I can teach you everything. Besides, he won't show up on my doorstep tomorrow. Everything okay? Okay, can you stop fucking coming into this room until I'm done? Yeah. Cleaning lady's coming tomorrow, so Brian's rushing to clean stuff up, and he might have jury duty tomorrow. Actually, I think he does, so I'm going to have to wake up early, and he usually does all the clean stuff, so the night before the cleaning lady comes, it's just very hectic in here. But anyways, that was the chapter. Yeah. I just noticed a nice little connection between how this chapter ends and my hiatus. Because the whole thing is like, now, you know, it's time to wait. And just like after this dramatic reading ends, you're all sort of just going to have to wait for me to return too. So that's a nice little connection there. Yeah, so Alex is definitely one of those people, a little bit of a skeptic. You know, you need to prove something to him. He doesn't, you know, just believe it just because. You really have to convince him. So I knew that, you know, when to get him to actually believe Jash was real, I couldn't just go, oh yeah, now Alex just suddenly believes in this very impossible thing to believe in. And so I figured, like, if they're already on a case and, you know, just happens to, you know, pop up. And there's definitely a major sort of plot point that happens in the sequel that now makes the potion, you know, that shows up in this chapter actually a lot more important, more foreshadowing than originally intended. I mean, originally I just planned for this to be, you know, a little one-shot, little one fic, you know, not a series. And so at that point I hadn't really planned for getting it to work as a series, getting things to, you know, sort of add up. But now it really, really does work surprisingly well. It was almost like a part of me, well, knew that this was not going to be a one-shot, that this was going to become a much, much larger story. And I haven't really covered that plot point in detail in the sequel currently, which I am currently working on. So I don't really want to spoil that for people who are keeping up with the series on Archive of Our Own. Oh, it just seems a little mean. Fuck. Okay. I was going to remark earlier, hey, we haven't had a game crash in Minecraft today. We're so lucky. The gods have blessed us. And then it crashes. Yeah. Yeah. But the reason I had Jash's potion appear on Earth in a different reality was just a sort of show. Oh, here you go. Was the, you know, just showcasing how the realities were blending together, merging together to give a reason why, Alex was actually... Oh, there's so many cave entrances down. It's not cave entrance. Got excited for nothing. To give a reason, why Alex was able to dream of Jash, because their realities were being merged. So it makes a little more sense, because, okay, things are coming together, literally, so, ta-da! And then Saga, yeah. And Saga just coming in, storming in. And I like their relationship, their friendship. Just like they're both willing to tease each other, but they also have each other's back. So I definitely liked exploring that in this chapter. Like, he notices, like Alex notices something is up eventually after, the shock wears off, like, wait, why is Saga actually here? Like, this doesn't make any sense. That's not the Saga I know. What the fuck is going on? And then I think probably one of my favorite things in this chapter was when he's like, hey, okay, I'm going to, explain things to you. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, why are you not fucking... Sure. Okay, let's save and quit. I want my avatar to be the avatar I got. Okay, let's see if this changes. Where Saga's doing the whole... No, where Alex is like, okay, going to explain everything to you, and he gets out some whiskey, and she's like, so is this for me or you? And it's like, both. Like, this shit you can't handle sober, trust me. Okay, good, not all the work was destroyed. Yeah. And then, like, Alex's joy of knowing, hey, both I'm not crazy for liking this fictional dude and being obsessed with him to the point no one else can really do it for me. Like, I've been loving someone real this entire time. But anyways, I'm about to read the link, go over the links. Now, a little forewarning before I do. The first is that some of these links are Amazon Associate links. So basically, if you buy something via the links, oh god, shit. No. See, I waxed. Copper. So basically, if you buy something via the links, you won't just be helping to support me, you'll be also helping to support the original creators. Oh, yay! Okay, so the first link is to my fic, that part on AO3. So, if you want to go ahead and experience the whole... Fucking hell. So basically, if you want to experience, that part without my annoying voice, plus I am taking a bit of hiatus, so it will take a little bit for you to get caught up with the story if you wait for the next part. So yeah, fun times. Go ahead and read it. And again, I am currently working on the sequel to the fic, so once you finish that part, you will be able to start reading Hunter, which is the sequel. Let's see, and the next link is to... is to Skyrim. Oh, just noticed my bird didn't catch up there. So if you wanna... Where's my bird? Where's my bird? Oh, he's down there. So, if you want to get to playing the game, and get have a better idea of what I talk about whenever I'm talking about something Skyrim, from the locations to some of the canonical characters. Yeah, I do. Sometimes I honestly do get a map out just to make sure of what and where I'm talking about. Oh. And plus, it is a really, really fun game. You're able to pick from different races, which does actually change how you experience the game. Because each race has like a special ability, and if you're doing it playing in survival mode like I do, you're definitely going to notice some races are better for that than others, such as if it's your first time playing survival mode, for the love of her scene, do not, and I repeat, do not choose Argonian, because one the disadvantages to them is they get cooled really easily. And Skyrim is a very cold place, so if it's your first time on survival mode and you haven't really got a handle on everything yet, yeah, don't choose Argonian. I love them to, hell and back, but yeah, they might be a little difficult. And the next link is to Alan Wake 2. I have not just started, hell, I'm like nearly to the end of the game. Well, I'm going to be doing New Game Plus, so when I say end of the game, I I basically mean in a round 1 for me. Because I am going to play it again. Because New Game Plus allows you to get the true ending of the game. Because there is a cliffhanger, and like if you want to torment yourself with that cliffhanger, you know, be my guest. You know, it's your choice, you do you and all that. But for everyone else, yeah, New Game Plus. And I know, I mean, I probably could take a break. You know, before doing New Game Plus, but I also know that myself that if I actually don't do New Game Plus immediately after playing it for the first time, I'm not going to be doing New Game Plus for centuries, so yeah. I know my weaknesses and accept myself for them. And the next link is to... Let's see. The next link is to my Twitter. I am Jashikins on Twitter. And, you know, if you want to discuss all things Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls or the Remedy Connected Universe, you know, head my way. I really do love nerding out. And I also like a bunch of other fandoms too, so. And the link after that is for my Patreon. Now, my Patreon helps support not just this dramatic reading, but my other Animorphs dramatic reading. All my other streams. Let's see. All my other streams. Every odd thing I am doing on my bloggity blog. And the original books I'm releasing. So, if you have a couple dollars to spare, you know, and you want to help support your favorite streamer ever, well, go ahead. And right now I have 2 tiers. A $1 tier where you get to see my Kafka's Men covers before anyone else, which is my $5 tier, and I honestly should have begun with the $1 tier. But I'm like quirky like that, haha. And the $1 tier is you get some cool designs that you can't get anywhere else. And if you're watching this live on Twitch, I actually have a link now to Sacred Chickens Hold Up, which is a post with some of those unique designs as well as some of my artwork from DeviantArt. So yeah, check it out. And finally, about Kafka's Men. If you don't know what Kafka's Men is, because yeah, it's a very small series that I write. It's a slow-burning reverse harem series. It's slow burning to the point that glaciers honestly melt faster. If that's your speed, you will love it. If you like the woman not having to choose between multiple men, and you just go, why choose? I choose all of you. You'll like it. It's also a grimdark superhero, so besides the angsty romance, you get some body horror because the main character can shapeshift. And until the 26th of this month, the second book in the series will be free, the Kindle version. And the latest book that is out is book 8, and I am halfway through writing book 9. So I'm really excited about that. And that is all. And since game's been really fucking crashing lately, I'm going to save for the day, go to the fence, and then we'll end the stream. Since we're so near to completing the fence, at least the rough outline, I was thinking, hey, why don't we just complete that in the stream? But then the stream proceeded to crash like 50 fucking times, so yeah. But yeah, this is going to be my final dramatic reading for a little bit. Don't worry, I am going to eventually get back to dramatic readings. It's just I've honestly feel like I'm a little burnt out. Like I just need a little time away and then everything will be okay again. Sometimes you get to those points where you just feel burnt out, but you just really just need to step away and everything's okay again. I'm going to actually take one final screenshot up here. Yeah, that'll be it for tonight. Thank you everyone for watching, for enduring my voice, and don't worry, in the near future or the far future or whenever I decide to get off the hiatus, I will be back with dramatic readings. So until then, oh yeah, okay, the 2 streams I'm going to be doing next, late tonight, I will be doing some Soma, and tomorrow I will be doing my commentary stream of Stardew Valley. And until tomorrow,